Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Tiger Talk. Gerard Weilbrock with you as we talk Fort Hays State men's and women's basketball. Women's coach Tony Hobson, men's coach Mark Johnson joining us here again tonight as we recap a swing through Oklahoma. Split for both, wins in Northeastern State, losses to Central Oklahoma. Now the Tigers will turn right back around and play the same two teams at home this week. And Northeastern State on Thursday, and then the Broncos on Saturday. We'll talk all about that. Program brought to you as it is each and every Monday night by Mocha's Coffee Bakery and Bistro, 27th and Indian Trail, and Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers on North Vine and Hayes. The taste that brings you back. We'll go ahead and take our first break. We'll come back with women's coach Tony Hobson right after this here on Tiger Talk. And welcome back to Tiger Talk. That was some of the action from Thursday night in Tahlequah as Fort Hays State with that three from Whitney went up by a dozen, and they would go on to win that game by a final score of 71-53. Program brought to you again tonight by Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers. Delicious cook-to-order food, rich and creamy frozen custard, churned fresh throughout the day. It's all at Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, North Vine and Hayes. The taste that brings you back. That clamp at three, part of a 14-2 run in the second quarter for Fort Hays State. And no, Coach, we talked about it after the ball game on Thursday. The second quarter has been pretty good for you. You guys scored 21 points in that frame, and that was really kind of the difference in the game. It got you some cushion, and your team was able to maintain that the rest of the way and got the Oklahoma road swing off to a good start.
Well, we got good solid play from a lot of kids. I think at Northeastern, nobody really didn't play fairly well. Got good play from Emma and T on the interior, and Bell did a good job on the boards. And you know, I had Laney and Whitney Clampett off the bench that both played well and hit some shots. That's kind of what stretched it there right at the beginning of the second quarter. And Taylor Ross hit a couple threes in after half to kind of, I think all of her points were in the second half. She had 10, so she had a good second half. So just a solid performance against a dangerous team on the road, and got off to a good start, like you said, on the road trip. So we needed that one bad, and we definitely wanted to get that one going into Saturday's game because we knew Saturday's game would be a real dogfight. So yeah. I liked what I saw out of us as far as execution, and defensively we were good, and I think our defense has been holding us in there in these games until we have something go right offensively, until you hit a couple shots, and that's keeping us away from any big runs by the other team most of the time.
Yeah, you had three in double figures, and as you said, it was really up and down the lineup. Everybody contributed, everybody played well. That's always nice to know. You put somebody in and there's no drop off, and that's really kind of been the case here in this last little run your team has been on. You bring people in off the bench, and you really haven't had a drop off from that starting five.
Well, and in some cases we actually get a little boost out of them, and I think that can be attributed to a couple different things. I mean, either you're playing against the other team's starters who are tired or have been in there a long time, or you're playing against their bench, and our bench is just better. So they give us a little boost and sometimes stretch it out a little bit, and then when you come back with your other kids, they maintain it, and it's been working out well so far. But our bench play's been good, solid, and we're getting where we can depend on it and get the same thing every game, and it's not just a crapshoot.
Well, Tigers got that win, certainly the much needed win to start the road trip. Central Oklahoma had been nationally ranked up until that week. They fell out of the poll after dropping a couple of tough ones on the road, and you knew it was going to be a dogfight. It was everything in that back and forth game, and really kind of a little stretch there in the fourth quarter. They got free, hit some threes. I think they had 4 threes in the fourth and a couple of deep ones from their freshmen. That was kind of the difference in the game. You made that little push at the end, got it to within 2 and had a last possession. I guess kind of frustrated to know you were right there and had a chance to win it, but that little stretch kind of the difference in the ball game.
Well, we had about, that little stretch, we had about everything go against us that we could. They hit two shots out of the corner right against the shot clock. One of them they had to review. And I don't think she'd hit a three all game. Now she's a good 3-point shooter, but she hadn't really got one yet. And then their other guard, besides the one we know about, she ends up hitting a couple threes that were, I think she's a 27% 3-point shooter, which isn't terrible in the women's game, but it isn't really those step backs. I don't think she usually makes as many as she did. So they were clutch shots, and they just hit some. All it takes is one of those not to go in, and us rebound it, and when we win that game. So it was again a one-possession game, and then we had it. We didn't get a shot that we really liked. I was out of timeouts, and I could see we were in a little trouble when we inbounds that they kind of blew up our play that we run from the sideline in. They took away the screen that we were going to come over and I would have used another timeout right then and had 7 or 8 seconds to still go because we had plenty of time, but I didn't have one. And then we ended up, Carly did what she could. She tried to go to the basket, and we didn't get the shot we really wanted.
But great fight. You're down 10 with 2:43 on the road against a good team and no momentum in the world. Give your team credit. You got a few turnovers, got a few stops, and had a chance, as you said, to tie it or win it with a 3 in that last possession. That was a great comeback on the road.
Well, it was, and I don't think anybody in that gym would have given us a snowball's chance, at that point. And like you said, we got a couple stops. We scored. We got to the line. We didn't even consider quitting it. Our kids, I was really proud of them, the way they hung in there and battled. And like you said, we had a chance to win that game or send it to overtime. And just a little bit better execution, or maybe a different play call by me, or just something. Because there's no way they had it scouted, because we hadn't. I don't know if we've ran that in a game all year. So. They just did they have good perimeter defenders, and they're strong, and they get over screens, and they wouldn't let Carly over the screen, and then she couldn't get where she needed to go, and then from then on it was just kind of a scramble, and we didn't execute very well. So just a great comeback by our kids. I was proud of them for hanging in there. Those last games on those 4-day trips are a grind, and I think on those days you have to be. On that given day, you have to be 12 to 15 points better than that team to beat them, and we weren't. But we gave them a good run for it, and hopefully we'll be able to repay the favor next week.
I was going to say, it's the same two opponents. Scouting report should be easy to make this week as the Tigers take on Northeastern State and UCO, this time at Gross Coliseum. We'll take a break and talk about the matchup coming up this week. Tiger Talk brought to you by Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, delicious cooked-to-order double steak burger, crispy shoestring fries. It's seasoned with Freddy's famous seasoning. Finish it off with a signature turtle sundae made with their fresh, creamy frozen custard. North Vine and Hayes, Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, the taste that brings you back. We'll be back with Coach Tony Hobson right after the break here on Tiger Talk.
That was another legend on 99 KZ Country. And yes, before that, we had a brand new artist. Your home for today's stars and the legends. We play real country. I'm Teresa Trapp. Weather, news, sports, it's all here. We're on Facebook, and there is a listen live link at hayespost.com. Dial us in on your radio at 99.5 FM. KHAZ, Real Country, 99 KZ Country.
And welcome back to Tiger Talk, brought to you again by Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers and Mocha's Coffee Bakery and Bistro. Some of the action from Saturday and the Tigers' 2-point loss. That was a big 3-point play there by Tatiana Leggett. Put the Tigers up 4 in that second half, but unfortunately, as we talked about, come up 2 points short. But they'll get a chance to avenge that loss on Saturday. It's like, I think, the second year in a row. It's been kind of a quirk in the schedule. Last year, you played them at home first, then had to go on the road to face those two. Now they come right back home. I guess it's always interesting when you play a team that close together, what changes, what adjustments, how the two teams play. But I guess the challenge is, especially on Thursday, you won that game handily. You can't just rest on that because you know Northeastern's going to come back, and you said a very dangerous team and very capable of beating anybody in the MIAA.
Well, I think you could say that about the last 5 or 6 years of our basketball schedule, that there's always a quirk.
There's a lot of quirks.
Some people would call them screw-ups, but you're nice and you call them quirks.
Well, I try to be.
But, you know, we have a quirk in the schedule by playing teams back-to-back, and then we have a quirk in the schedule next week by playing a Tuesday, Thursday. Just a lot of quirkiness going on. Anyway, back to the point at hand.
I enjoyed it, though.
We've got to make sure that we don't overlook Northeastern on Thursday, because our kids were they were ready to go again after that game Saturday, because it was a hard-fought game. It was rough, and we thought we were right there, and we also thought we did not play the best we could have. And so I think we're really looking forward to that game, but we have to be careful and make sure that we do not overlook Northeastern, because they're very capable of beating teams, and they have on the road. They've beat some pretty good teams on the road, so they've got a couple good three-point shooters, and we just have to play like we did against them down there, and we'll be fine. But we have to make sure that our minds are on them and not on the Saturday game.
3 of your final 4 are at home, and obviously all 4 are going to be incredibly important right now. You're in a 3-way tie for that 4th spot in the conference at 10-5, but you're right there, a good week, and you can be right there in second place depending on what happens elsewhere. But these are all going to be important games. Obviously, getting that top 4 finish and the quarterfinal trip to Kansas City is big. Trying to keep NCAA tournament hopes and all of those things alive. You really got to finish this thing out strong.
Well, you do, and we do have 3 out of 4 at home. Two of those games we have left out of the 4, we've already lost to. One of the other ones we beat by a point. So we play 2 teams that have won 19 ball games, and another team that's won 16. And we don't have the luxury of playing 2 or 3 teams that are 5 or 6 games under 500 that you should just play. If you just play okay, you're going to beat them at home, but not that way for us. So we've got tough ball games coming up, and not only to keep that alive for the bye, the first round, but a lot of time, the last 2 years, maybe the last 3 years, that 4th place team in our conference has made it to the NCAA tournament. So you know, if you can keep up there, the thing is, our strength schedule will go through the roof. If you look at our last 5 games, we're playing Central Oklahoma twice, Kearney, Baptist is a 15, 16, and 7 team. So it'll go through the roof if we can get some wins, but you have to beat them. So the good thing is the chance is there, and if we had one more basket, if we hit a 3 at the buzzer the other night, we're thinking that we're unstoppable and nobody can ever beat us. So we've been playing well, and I don't see any reason why we won't be able to continue that. I mean, we're still the same kids out there, and we're still fairly healthy. Lainey's still day to day, and she's in a boot, but she's like I told you the other day, she's tougher than she looks, because she looks like a mild-mannered, pretty girl, but she's tough, and she will play through pain, and she wouldn't even mention to me that there was even anything wrong until I forced her to. But she'll be ready to go, I think, and hopefully just everybody's in the right state of mind, and we'll be able to go get them this week.
Now, Blaney certainly played well this weekend and hopefully continue. Should be a fun week of basketball at the Coliseum. Hope to get big crowds as we've seen all year, and it's good result for the Tigers. We'll see you on Thursday night.
Okay, thanks, Gerard.
There you go. That's head coach Tony Hobson of the Fort Hays State women again. Thursday night, 5:30 with Northeastern State, then a 2 o'clock tip on Saturday afternoon against the Central Oklahoma Broncos. Tiger Talk brought to you by Mocha's Coffee Bakery and Bistro. They're at 27th and Indian Trail. Start your day off right with a hot cup of coffee and breakfast from Mocha's. In fact, they've got signature sandwiches, something really for every meal at Mocha's Coffee Bakery and Bistro. They got the convenient drive-through, 27th and Indian Trail. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk with men's coach Mark Johnson right here on Tiger Talk.
Ready to discover something new? The next time you're in your car, Tune your radio to 94.3 FM.
It's here.
It's Hayes' greatest hits.
Love it.
On 1400 KAYS and 94.3 FM.
94.3 FM, KAYS. Go ahead, check us out.
And welcome back to Tiger Talk, brought to you tonight by Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, North Vine and Hayes, the taste that brings you back. That was some of the action from Thursday night. Key three-pointer there from Hadley Gillum put the Tigers up 66-64. They would go on and eventually win the game over Northeastern State by 98-89 count in double overtime. That was a big three. Jared Vinston misses the three, but kept it alive on the rebound. You eventually get a three from Hadley, and we kind of talked about it after the game. You kind of won that game three times. Thought you had it won, then thought you had it won in overtime after letting it slip away late in regulation, and you finally won it in the second overtime, which on the road is difficult to do. You see a lot of teams that get to that, especially if it does go to two overtimes, just run out of gas, but you found a way to get a win, which is obviously very important.
Yeah, it was. Into regulation, we just could not get a stop. They made big three after big three. The Andrews kid really stepped up and made some difficult shots, and we missed just enough free throws. You felt like we shot our free throws okay and shot them pretty good, but you just one miss here in the last minute makes a difference between them tying the game and you winning by one. But yeah, definitely felt like at the end of regulation we let one slip away. Then in overtime we had a chance and had a 2-point lead and couldn't get a stop, and they scored again, and then things kind of went our way in the third overtime. But had some big performances. Obviously Hadley with 35 and 11 was offensively very big. Marcus Cooper had 20 and 17. Thought Aaron Nicholson, he hit 3 threes, made a difference for us. And really the whole weekend, we didn't play very well against Central Oklahoma, but at least we shot the three ball better for the entire week. Both nights we shot at a much higher percentage than we had, leading up and going into the week. I mean, all season long, especially in conference, we haven't been a great 3-point shooting team, and we shot it well, from three all week long. Really, hopefully that carries over here the last 2 weeks of the season.
You mentioned Andrews. He finished with 24 and hit 5 threes, but I thought up until that, or really about 15 seconds left in regulation, you'd done a really good job on him, and he wasn't in for a big chunk, but he got free, and he hit a couple big ones late to get him within one, then force the overtime, then he hit the 2 to start the first overtime, and thought that might be it for you guys. But other than that little stretch, you did a pretty good job on him, and he's really, really good.
Yeah, no, he's talented. He makes a lot of hard shots, and we did. I agree. He was almost, I wouldn't call it non-existent, but he wasn't really having much of an impact on the game whatsoever, really until the final minute of regulation is when he stepped up and just made shot after shot. Ended up transferring Trey onto him in overtime, and thought Trey did a good job of fighting through those screens. They started running sets to him over and over, and Trey did a little better job of being able to get through them and take his shot away a little bit.
They're not a big team, but you had 58 rebounds, out-rebound them by 26. Obviously, that's always a good sign, but you guys really hit the boards hard that game.
We did, and they're not very big, and we were able to take advantage of that, and had 18 offensive rebounds, 58 total, plus 26, which is about as good as I can remember us ever doing, and did a really good job. And then obviously it didn't head over till Saturday. I mean, Central Oklahoma, a very big team, and they whipped us on the glass pretty good.
Well, yeah, then you had to turn right back around, and you knew it was going to be a completely different game because they have good overall size, and again, they've added some transfers. They got 5 D1 transfers and a junior college transfer, and really good basketball team, and just felt like the size was the difference in this one. You just had no answer for them, and they're able to get it in low and control the glass and score in the paint.
Yeah, no, they're a big team and a good team. I think they're a lot better than they were a year ago. You look at the top 5 teams in our league. I think there's clear separation. You got Northwest and Washburn, and then Central Missouri and Missouri Southern and Central Oklahoma just right there behind them. I think those 5 teams are clearly kind of above the rest of us right now, and it was going to be a hard matchup. And our bench really saved us in the first half and got us back in the game and got it to a 4-point game and gave us a chance. And then the second half. We just didn't have it, didn't have enough energy. You know, when we're outsized and out athlete there, I mean, you got to come and play extremely hard, be really intense, focused, and all those things, and we weren't. I don't know if it's the end of a long road trip at the end of a long season at times that maybe had a factor in that. But our fight wasn't probably as good as it needs to be especially if we're going to give ourselves a chance to win.
I can't remember a game that Fort Hays State has played in which 3 starters didn't score. That was the case Saturday. It's going to be tough to win against anybody when that happens.
Well, yeah. I mean, you look at our starting 1, 2, and 3. I mean, they got outscored 31-0. You know, it's hard to win when that happens. And you look at our last 2 losses at Washburn. I think our starting 1, 2, and 3 got outscored 41-14. So you throw those 2 games in together, it's 72-14, and it's just hard to. Yeah, it's hard to be any good and win games when that happens. They need to be more prepared to play and ready to go and give ourselves an opportunity. We got a big stretch finishing up here. We got 4 games, 3 of them are at home, playing for a home seed here, and need to keep winning some games if we want to have one.
Well, the Tigers will be right back here on Thursday night, and it's a familiar opponent. It'll be Northeastern State. We'll talk about the Riverhawks Part 2 in 1 week as the Tigers and Northeastern square off, and then Central Oklahoma on Saturday. Tiger Talk brought to you by Mocha's Coffee Bakery and Bistro, 27th and Indian Trail, and Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers. Final segment with the coach right after this here on Tiger Talk.
As you plan for your business in 2018, advertising should be an important part of your growth strategy. Digital marketing puts your business in front of the right customers online. Advertising with the Hays Post ensures your message will be viewed 1.5 million times a month, including 375,000 unique views a week. Are you ready to grow your business? Advertise with us today. It's affordable and it works. Call us today at 785-628-0467. Eagle Communications, our community connected.
And welcome back. Our final segment here on Tiger Talk. That was Peyton Stevens pulling the Tigers within 2 after the 10-0 start by the Broncos. Fort Hays cut it to 2 a couple of times, but that would be as close as they would get as Peyton finished with 5 points and 4 rebounds on Saturday. I guess one of the bright spots, Keyshawn Wilson, he had 16 points for you, 4 of 7 from 3, and it was good to see, just kind of waiting for him to have a game like that, a breakout game, and hopefully that gets him going. He certainly showed some ability to shoot the ball and had his best game as a Tiger certainly on Saturday.
Yeah, he did. He shot the ball well, and we needed someone in that stretch to make shots to get us back in the game, and he was able to do that. And continue to work and try to get better and put time in outside of practice to shoot the ball better, because he's a better shooter than he's statistically shown this year, and it was a nice reward for him.
Well, you turn right back around. Scouting report should be easy to make this week because same 2 teams you faced on the road the last week, starting Thursday with Northeastern State, and it's always funny how you play a team that close together, how the games can be completely different, but it'll be interesting to see if there's any adjustments and how the game goes. But big stretch here, 3 of your final 4 at home, and as you talked about, getting a first-round home game in the conference tournament, finishing in that top 8, you're going to have to play really well here down the stretch, and having these first 2 at home, imperative that you certainly get it off to a good start on Thursday night.
Yeah, I would think so. You're getting to the end of the year, you're running out of games, so this is pretty much a must-win for us, especially on Thursday, and then we win that, then you probably say the same thing on Saturday. But yeah, it's unusual to be playing teams this quick turnaround, so it should be fresh in our minds what they're trying to do against us and all that. So I don't think there'll be any secrets out there. I think they feel like their big concern is probably going to be on the glass. They can't get beat on the glass like that like we did last time. So hopefully we'll be ready to play, and we'll have a good finish to our home season. We've had an okay home season. We've only lost 2 games. You don't really want to lose any, but Northwest and Washburn are having great years. So hopefully we can close out our home stretch here and walk away, if we have success with all 3 games, feel like you've done a pretty good job on your home floor this year.
It might be the difference of getting to play an extra one in the conference postseason tournament. We'll certainly see what happens when that rolls around, but see if they can get off to a good start and get the win started on Thursday night. Coach, we appreciate your time. Have a good week of practice. We'll see you here on Thursday.
All right, thank you, George.
There you go. That's head coach Mark Johnson again. Thursday night, 5:30, 7:30, the Tigers in Northeastern State. Then Saturday afternoon, Central Oklahoma in town. 2 and 4 o'clock final Saturday home game coming up on Saturday against UCO. So hope to see you out at the Coliseum. The program, if you missed any portion of it, you can always catch it online, hayspost.com, or the video replay on Eagle Cable channels 14 and 614, 3 times a day on Tuesday and Wednesday. And a big thanks to Jordan again running the camera for the video replay of Tiger Talk. And again, we'll have only one more show here in the basketball season coming up next Monday night, so certainly hope you can join us here on Tiger Radio Mix 103. The program brought to you as it is each and every Monday by the Hayes Med Orthopedic Institute, the Taco Shop, G&L Tire and Automotive, Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, Adams Brown, Barron and Ball, BTI, Horizon Appliance and Electronics, and of course Mocha's Coffee Bakery and Bistro, 27th and Indian Trail, and by Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, North Vine and Hayes, the taste that brings you back. For women's coach Tony Hobson, men's coach Mark Johnson, this is Gerard Welbrock. So long, everyone.